All right, awesome. So today we're joined by Jael Jones, and she's joined us from Indianapolis, Indiana. How are you today, Jael?
Doing well. Thanks, Mike, for
Awesome.
letting me be on. Appreciate it.
Very excited to get to know you a little better. I've seen you online some, been following your journey some, but I want you to share with others where you're at in your journey towards launching the Salesforce career. Kind of tell us what you've been up to.
So most definitely, I'll say this, I am a learner. I enjoy learning. The number one Gallup strengths that I have is learner. So one of the things that I've invested in over the course of my career is instructional learning. So with that being said, with those investments, I've seen a return on investment from investing in myself to learn more. So definitely currently I am diving into instructional learning, and Mike Wheeler is the place that I have invested in myself to learn more about Salesforce. Definitely had a desire to learn, or it sparked in 2015 when Salesforce, I believe, came to Indianapolis, maybe either a couple of years before. And I'll just start by saying that my background definitely is in social services, social work, and education. So needless to say, I didn't have the opportunity to make the income that I desired. So there was a series of investments that I made, definitely sparked with a tech course in college. And I learned a little bit of HTML, CSS, Dreamweaver, and Adobe Photoshop. And from then, again, invested in an online web design course in 2015. And with that, shortly after, started playing around with websites with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And I also began to run into Salesforce Professional. So that's when that bug was kind of dropped into my psyche. And from the online web design course, I then took the big leap and jumped and completed a immersive 3-month full-time software engineering program, learning C#.net. And I ended up building my portfolio and also developing and working with a group in an agile scrum methodology type, simulating that environment, and built an application called Yoga RX. And I had a blast. It was such a phenomenal experience. So about a few months after, I came back to Indianapolis because that experience was in Cleveland, came back to Indianapolis, became a quality assurance analyst. Absolutely loved that experience of learning about testing software using SQL and the whole nine of that experience, and the networking experience. Didn't quite fit in that area, but still enjoyed that exposure. So from there, I kind of played around with various just kind of career areas, like transition to teaching. Right before the pandemic hit, I was in a transition to teaching master's program, but quickly got out of that due to the pandemic. And then I was so fortunate to land an opportunity at a tech educational startup as a sales admissions advisor. So learning a lot about selling, and also they didn't use Salesforce. They did use a different CRM, but obviously, like many others in a similar situation during the pandemic, I came back around to wanting to get more exposure on the trailhead and really dive in deep into Salesforce. So with that being said, working that position allowed me to appreciate even more so the phenomenal capabilities of Salesforce. And that led me on a journey to dive into learning more. And I saw your course maybe about a year or so before, kind of looked around, and I was like, I saw your awesome, serious picture. I was like, who's that guy? He's so serious. I was like, I know that I'm a laugher and a smiler. I was like, he's so serious. I don't know if that's going to be my cup of tea. So I ended up just connecting up with another networking resource, and a woman, word of mouth, as you know, said, hey, Mike's doing a meetup on Mondays and so forth. And so I decided to go the more reasonable route and did my Udemy course, and found out that in addition to Trailhead, the spoken, the visuals that you have to offer, and just your overall experience was something that I needed to really put things together from Trailhead and to solidify my learning. So decided to just definitely was like, hey, Mike, I want to join in on the fabulous, the group, and quickly jumped off of Udemy and connected with your online resource. And I've thoroughly enjoyed my experience. And if I was to say three things that I enjoy, and I did write it down, the reason why I enjoy your platform is because it's detailed learning. The fact that you take time out to just dive in deep with the exam guide was just like helpful. I'm like, over your years of experience, just wow, that's matchless. So you took that time to just break down the exam guide. It was detailed. Also, you have that experiential, that is learning. Your experience alone is invaluable to an individual who's not just trying to learn Salesforce, but just also apply it as well. And then on top of that, your online learning platform allowed me to focus, because some of my learning experiences included the engagement on social media. And for me, social media, I respect social media, but sometimes when you're trying to learn, that can be an added distraction. So with your course, I can truly just focus and communicate and do things that my learning without having to fully engage on social media unless I need to. So that's the benefit of what I appreciate with this course. So there you have it.
Awesome. It's funny hearing you talk about my serious photo. It's probably the bridge photo, yeah, where I'm like looking all serious. But you can attest that I'm not all serious all the time, right?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, during your courses, I'm like, but I digress. One of your favorites, and you'll go off on this tangent, and you'll start. I literally am just wanting to, maybe it would be illegal, go into some of your trainings and just clip out all of your funny, like just funnies. I'm like, are you serious?
You have my permission to do that. If you want to do that, you can. It's fine. No, yeah, I do have a funny streak. And so I have learned to lighten up, because teaching software can be as dry as the Sahara Desert. So you got to have some levity as well.
Hot dog, you're telling the truth. That is exactly correct. So I appreciate that. And including the music, guys, you got to check out, if you have the opportunity to invest in this course, his breaks, the dance breaks. You already know, because I told you about it. The forever etched in my memory of getting up and dancing and just moving around during your dance break. So
there you go. I've been known to do that as well, but off camera. So yeah, I don't want to scare my students, So
that makes sense.
So I'm trying to remember, you did pass the certification, is that right?
So as of right now, I am still in the learning phase. Okay. And definitely I'm just taking in the opportunity, because I believe one of the questions that I asked was, hey, Mike, how can I accelerate my learning? What are the main things that I can focus in on? And I think your phenomenal input about like, hey, take your time, learn, and so forth. And so definitely I'm taking the opportunity to learn and just let it sink in. And finally, I have an online study group as well to help solidify some things. So my goal is to definitely do it and see what happens, and then just go from there and just get over that fear of getting it done. So yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So when do you envision you'll start interviewing for Salesforce jobs, or have you already started interviewing even at this point?
Have not started interviewing as of now, but I have been networking and connecting, and shout out to Alyssa Smith. She is a phenomenal like Salesforce admin evangelist or advocate. And she was one of the individuals even prior to this course who said, hey, your gateway is the Salesforce admin certification. So she definitely assisted me. And right now I'm looking at opportunities, networking with individuals, and communicating with people and letting them know, hey, as soon as I am certified, I, am definitely interested in communicating. And then just yesterday, ironically, I ended up purchasing the course that you offered, which is at 50% off, guys. Yeah, it's at 50% off. Yeah, I know how to take in Sandler's sales certification. Hot dog, get that course. So to build the app, because I realized that in all seriousness, I realized the importance of building a portfolio and having that showcased in your arsenal for employers in order to also land opportunities as well. So I know that as soon as that Salesforce admin certification is passed, I know that it's just going to be an explosive opportunity. And obviously with networking and communicating and connecting.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that you've previously built portfolios when you've learned other technologies. So you've seen that lead to good things, right? So you're kind of doing that again in the Salesforce side, which is, I think, really smart. And what Jael is talking about is the Career Launch Accelerator. And that's my new course where you build 3 apps. And so you've been working in the sales side of things. And what have you learned recently with selling that you think will serve you well in the Salesforce ecosystem?
So being on the end user side most definitely has been a phenomenal and a tremendous value of knowing what my end users may experience from that perspective of bringing in leads and that whole lead process, lead conversion process, and so forth and so on. So as an admin, I believe that that will give me the opportunity to be more empathetic to my end users because I understand what an individual can go through while you're navigating through a CRM.
Yeah, I think that's definitely invaluable because I kind of approached Salesforce without that experience. And so I knew all the stuff behind the scenes, but it wasn't until I was tasked with trying to create a course for end users that I realized, like, wow, I can't really answer what Salesforce even is, even though I at that point taught tens of thousands of students, like, what does it actually do from the front end? And so I think you coming at that from that angle will be very helpful for you to be able to express your experience there. And what amazes me about Salesforce is the ability to handle different sales processes as well. And so you've also got a lot of technical skills. You know, you've gone through a lot of coursework, a lot of training, and actually built an application in the past. And so it sounds like you've got a great variety of skills. Do you envision that you're going to get, there's a lot of paths you can take, obviously.
Yes, sir.
There's admin, there's business analyst. And I think you're someone that could do any of these, you know, just talking to you, project management, development, architect. Where do you envision yourself in the next few years? Like, what are your like midterm goals here?
So that is exactly why I wanted to I am entering into the Salesforce ecosystem because of the vast opportunity, which can be a great thing and a challenging thing, as you so well said. So my end goal, most definitely, I ended up just looking at a course with Salesforce developing, and I kind of put the cart before the horse. I'm hoping I said that right. And was diving in, and I looked at a few courses and did my first Apex trigger. So that definitely is something that I would look forward to. But definitely, I also have an open mind as well. So the goal is Salesforce admin. And then if I land in a BA role, that would be very interesting to me because I do enjoy consulting with individuals one-on-one and giving that opportunity to support businesses and companies and even really nonprofit in education. That would be like my perfect niche, seeing that I'm from the background of nonprofit, social services, and education. So that's the area that I'm looking at. So definitely have had an interest in BA, and also another certification that I do desire to look into is a Scrum Master certification. So I'm just a humble learner that's willing to just get that experience and see where it takes me. So I'll have the plan, but I'll also kind of go with the flow as well, just for the sake of what I can do to serve. So, and servant leadership is something I looked at one BA summit, and one of the Salesforce BAs was talking about the value of servant leadership, which is something that I've always kind of had as a foundation, even in my belief systems of serving in my community and so forth. So that experience in the agile methodology, that environment is something that's very intriguing to me. And even when I went to my boot camp and we had an acting Scrum Master that simulated that work environment, that was very intriguing to me, and I found that very interesting. So it's just a big world. It's a big world out there. So I'm just willing to serve and explore and see where it takes me.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And it's a great approach and mindset as well of just looking at that whole idea of servant leadership as well as seeing as how you can add value and how you can help others. And there are so many opportunities out there. And with you being located in Indianapolis, I know that Salesforce acquired Exact Target, which is now Marketing Cloud.
Mhm.
What do you see there locally in Indianapolis going on? And I'm getting really specific to your
Mhm.
geographic location, but with you having a Salesforce tower there, it's kind of on the skyline also. There's
Mhm.
probably a lot of people that you run into that don't even know what Salesforce is, but
Mhm.
in the Indianapolis area, what has been the sense that Salesforce has brought as far as opportunity and just with other businesses as well? Like what have you seen there in Indy?
So obviously, other startups that are using the platform are starting to grow in the Indianapolis area. I did look at one company that I was interested in for their training, Marketing Cloud. So they are a fairly new company that decided to nestle into Indianapolis and begin to serve other businesses. So that is what is happening. The startups are who serve clients, serve others in the Salesforce ecosystem are starting uh, to grow and pop up. So for me, I told one of my connections that I don't have to work at the Salesforce Tower, so that's not my end goal. Just to have the opportunity to work within the ecosystem is something that, so that I think that's what when people say, yeah, I'm interested in Salesforce, or you want to work for Salesforce, you're working for Salesforce, and I have to explain to people, no, Salesforce is embedded in so many different areas. So it's not just working at Salesforce being the ultimate end goal. It's working within the Salesforce ecosystem with businesses, companies, and other organizations that are using that platform. So that's the one thing, is just letting people know it's not just working at the tower, working at Salesforce. It's working within the ecosystem with the companies that are utilizing the various aspects, the various broad aspects of Salesforce. So yes.
So speaking of ecosystems, Salesforce is to me is very unique. But from your perspective, having been in other technologies and industries, how is Salesforce's ecosystem different from what you've experienced in other walks of life that you've seen?
First of all, I appreciate Trailhead. That is the first and foremost opportunity. Like you would think that if a company has a system and it's proprietary, it's a secret. You wouldn't want anyone to know about it. But this company has uh, revealed and training platform to allow everyday people to engage. So that's number one. Then obviously the assistance, the help, the connection is it's vast, it's worldwide. That full connection just allows any individual who's wanting a career stability to actually know that it is possible to have career stability. So that's two. And then just in general, just the opportunity of seeing the diversity and inclusion and that space of seeing a multiplicity of individuals and people being able to break in and have a good career, no matter what your background is or what you look like and so forth. So
Excellent. Yeah. It's there's a spirit of generosity in this ecosystem that's unlike anything I've seen
mhm,
in the tech space. And we're all probably familiar with, as you were saying, most technologies and even most tech experts, it's a closely guarded secret because there's this mindset of scarcity. Like if I teach you, then you're going to come and take my job. And
mhm,
fortunately, and I think this is something that comes from the top down, even from the leadership of Salesforce, is these decisions that they make to allow people to give back time to their community and opening up these free developer accounts so that we, the people, can learn. A lot of companies don't do that, and there's this barrier to entry. And so to me, and I was just doing a live webinar like an hour ago, and I was explaining to people that are just brand new, just brand new people, like, what is Salesforce? And just explaining how it's not easy, but it's attainable. And there's
mhm,
so many technologies that are not easy, but they're also not attainable because the barrier to entry is there. And so I really appreciate as well that that has kind of been taken from the top down. And then those of us that are learning, we freely, give away information and share with one another and help one another. And you see that online as well. And I'm sure you're looking forward to years down the line when you've got more and more experience doing likewise for others as well. I can just sense that about you, So, so I think that I'm just trying to think of where to go from here with this. What do we need to know about Jael, and how can people connect with you or get in touch with you? Is it LinkedIn or Twitter or website? Like, what do you have out there as far as your online networking goes that I can help draw attention to?
How cool are you? So I will say first and foremost, it would be LinkedIn. And it's interesting because Mike did post something about the incorporation of you. And I will say that I'm that renegade that loves to hide, and I never was a soul. Like I probably was born in another. My soul was probably from a different century or something like that. Because I'm like, what is Facebook? What is Twitter? This is information overload. I don't have time to keep up. I'm just trying to deal with people in real life. So obviously, LinkedIn, to answer your question. But I will honestly say and be transparent that I am learning how to be more just fearless when it comes to exposure online, because I do have also a secret like passion for cybersecurity. So, and then on top of that, all jokes aside, I did have a challenge with having my identity stolen. So that kind of puts you in a different perspective of how much of my information is out there and who's seeing me and so forth. But definitely LinkedIn, and definitely am learning from you, because I see, Mike, that you definitely brand yourself and kind of showcase yourself in a way that's authentic and it's genuine. And so and that's pretty much who I am. Like, I'm genuine, I'm authentic. I don't want to do the whole, I just want to put on air. No, I'm genuine and I'm authentic. So I kind of look to you in that regard of incorporating yourself and treating yourself as a business. So I do have a website at jaeljones.com. However, that is being rebranded to showcase my Salesforce, my Salesforce portfolio. So if you go there now, you'll see some web design fun, but I will be rebranding that to kind of showcase Salesforce and so forth. So yes, sir. So thank you, Mike, for continuing to show me how to brand myself or incorporate myself in the way that's authentic and genuine and also safe as well. So
right, yeah. Right. Yeah, I was trying to remember. I think you did reach out saying that the You Incorporated talk kind of resonated with you. Is that you that said that? I was trying to remember.
Yes, it resonated with me because, and we all are different. That's what makes the world go round. We're so unique thinkers and individuals. So I believe sometimes when the statement is said, you have to brand yourself, I immediately think of maybe a product, and I'm just a human being with a sign that says, I'm branded, I'm cereal, I'm McDonald's, I'm Nike. And I'm like, but I'm not a thing. I'm a human. How do I brand? Cereal brand, raisin brand, what? I'm a human. So how do I brand? How do I make this thing human and not feel like I'm just a thing to be showcased? So I think in incorporating you, and if you can, how do you say it, Mike? I just want to.
You Incorporated.
Thank you. So You Incorporated helps me kind of digest that pill a little bit more. Like, all right, that sounds a little bit more human than me being branded like maybe like a cow, like just sticking on a. Like, am I being branded that way?
Right. Yeah, all things to consider, it's all, words are powerful, definitely.
Yes,
so
yes.
But yeah, I'm glad that resonated, because, and I too am actually kind of an introvert. I know that's weird to think because I'm out there online all the time. And this kind of goes back to prior to Salesforce. I was out there promoting the Snuggie online, and that really got me out of I'm having to go out in public wearing a blanket with sleeves, so that's not a good mix for an introvert. So I learned how to, when the camera's rolling, just to not think about myself and just go for it. But I think it is so important that we don't, a few things on this. I think that you are just mastering this so well, and I know you're going to be successful. It's not a matter of if, but when. I think it'll be very quickly too. Is that you're not portraying yourself as some end all be all expert. You're owning up to where you're at, but also you bring a wealth of experience and you are real. And I think the mistake that a lot of people make is, okay, I don't want to go public until I feel like I've achieved some certain level of whatever. But the people that I've seen have huge success in this endeavor, have gone on to huge things, is they just kind of document where they're at. They're honest about what they know and they don't know. And what that tells people that are on the other side watching this, maybe years from now, even, is this is someone that I can trust. This is someone I want to work with.
Okay.
And so that's part of just that whole documentality of documenting your journey that you incorporated, treating your career as a business of marketing, sales, and service and all that. And I've approached a lot of people before they're certified to be interviewed, and inevitably they say, "Oh, I'm no expert." I'm like, well, I'm not looking for an expert. I'm looking for a person, and so you bring that level of humility and humanity, but also ability to the table, so. But I'm glad that you incorporated kind of help take you off of the shelf as far as you're not a candy bar, but it's a mindset though, as far as, and not even tying yourself to a software or a platform, but here is how I as a person bring value and add value, and a lot of that is that experience and things you've done in the past, and even the things that you've done in the past, the rebrand of your website. I've not looked at it yet, but keep some of that up there so that people will know that it's not just Salesforce, and that you have a lot of technical abilities and so much to offer in so many areas. So anyway, anything else? I feel like there's so much we could talk about. And so what does someone need to know as far as trying to decide if they should go down this path of pivoting in their career?
Great question. Thank you so much for asking. So I would say definitely first check out Trailhead. In addition to that, begin to network with individuals on LinkedIn. And now, since the pandemic is starting to lift, go to meetups. That was what I did as well. I went to meetups to connect up with other tech professionals, and so happened to connect up with many Salesforce professionals that communicated with me over the years and continue to kind of like put the seeds of the ability to transition into a Salesforce career in me. So yeah, Trailhead, network, and find your style of learning. So, and if at all possible, invest in yourself. So I know some finances can be a challenge, but take time out to invest in yourself if you are a learner that needs that extra assistance with learning from a professional who has done it. So I'll say this, I came up with this. I was like, Mike will teach you not just how to catch a fish, but he will teach you how to fish as it relates to learning Salesforce. Because when you connect up with individuals who have been there and done that, you can kind of, because I'm a full believer in not doing mistakes. I'm like, if I can avoid that mistake and maybe commit a new mistake, cool. But let's learn from those who have the experience. And that also is, while I'm going through the videos, you communicate about, hey, this is what I did in the beginning of my Salesforce career. So I take that seriously, as if to say, hey, that's something that I can avoid in my career because I invested in myself. So I know it can be challenging, especially if resources are low, but I do believe that Salesforce is a great investment for ROI, return on investment. So that definitely, yeah, just take the risk, bet on yourself. And I believe that because I took the risk and bet on myself, I can confidently go to employers and say, hey, you know, I know you're wanting to hire me, but look at the investments that I've made in myself as well to learn and to grow. And I've put in my own resources. So you can bet on me. I'm serious about this. I'm not playing around. And again, if whether it be time, which is a valuable resource, or finances, money, either way, because time, you put in the work to build portfolios or volunteer, which is another aspect that I'm willing to kind of check out, but I'm hoping I can use my portfolio to kind of get my foot in the door. So, which is why I invested in that course. I was like, yeah, let's just do a portfolio. And also, but for the most part, just that investment in yourself is a big component of showing individuals that you're worth it. So I'm learning how to realize that I'm worth it.
Yes, you are definitely worth it. So much wisdom for others as well, because you hear so much about investments and investing in this company or that company, and kind of harkening back to just treating your career as your business or you incorporated.
Yeah.
Is what better business to invest in than your own, whether that's time or money or both or whatever it may be. Definitely a huge ROI, and unlike anything I've ever found. That's why I'm here, and why I'm like, you know, banging the drum, trying to get other people aware of this opportunity here as well. So thank you so much, Jael. I've
Thank
so
you.
enjoyed our talk today, and I'm excited to see what you do next. You know, I'll be watching. So
Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate your time.
awesome. All right. Thank you.